Estimation of software defects. Use data mining techniques of classification algorithm. Abstract. A characteristic software growth process has a number of processing, every one its possess importance and need on the other. Every processing is frequently composite and specifying a large mixture of information. Consider mining application for processing of those communications, performing hidden pattern beginning this information, determine the crash of each steep it contains number of processing and collect need in rank to look up the software growth method. This work the specific information can support software developers to calculate, value the different details of the communications, consider in performing next generation. It is very hard process to select the specific information by using data mining concepts. This help paper, here assessment along these lines and propose the most reasonable strategies for each phase of the development cycle. We additionally examine how information mining improve the product advancement measure in specifications of time, cost, assets, dependability, and viability. Keywords mining, industrial data, software. Introduction. Data mining is definite as the procedure of discover previously unheard of and potentially useful information from data collection. It utilizing mining with the aim of software development has put out the importance of researchers global. There are quite a lot of challenge that in mining software repositories. The major ones being, dealing with the natural complexity and vertical level of the software engineering data. 2. The most ordinarily utilized procedures incorporate cascade, prototyping, iterative and steady turn of events, winding turn of events, fast application advancement, extraordinary preparing and different kinds of light-footed technique. Term for a classification of philosophies, a product advancement measure is regularly commensurate to a nitty-gritty cycle picked by a definite society. An assortment of such structures have developed throughout the long term, each with its own perceived quality and shortcoming. One programming improvement procedure system isn't really fitting for use by all tasks. Every one of the accessible technique structures are most appropriate to explicit sorts of tasks, in light of different specialized, hierarchical, venture and group contemplations. 2. Related work. The appearance of cutting fringe information has made it potential to create programming that are a lot of unpredictable and flexible, particularly with regard to the sort of information that they manage. Such lift in trouble, it is unsurprising that such programming wind up managing countless issues. In their prior work set out the most significant inconveniences experienced in programming designing undertaking running. They painted issues connected to improvement, sorting out, enlistment and figuring as the significant test here. Suggested that product designers would reveal it progressively difficult to manage the expansion in multifaceted nature of programming which would bring about low-quality programming and higher upkeep costs. Expressed issues that were identified with programming mission. The executives expressed that the viability of programming gets troublesome with the expansion in its intricacy. This quality in the end brings about issues with respect to programming honesty and bug discovery. A bug is a defect in a PC program that can at last reason glitches, program disappointment, or programming devastation. Mohammed analyzed the advantages and disadvantages of 5 generally utilized advancement models. This gave the base of our investigation where we shortlisted the normal stages in these 5 models. In 2004, the Mining Programming Storehouses, MSR, Center was set up, with the objective of rising the NICE of programming advancement rehearses through information mining. Papers distributed in MSR Center around subjects, for example, appraisal of mining quality, models and metamodels, trade arrangements, replicability and reusability, information incorporation, and representation methods. CAGDI ETAL 14 have as of late distributed a nitty-gritty scientific classification of programming development information mining systems and distinguishes various related examination gives that require further examination. Taylor have created a complete study covering the latest utilizations of information mining to programming designing. They likewise examine the issues one may experience in mining programming information and the fundamental conditions for progress. Have ALS portrayed different customs in which information mining can be utilized to improve the product designing cycle. Have thought of one of the most careful papers regarding the matter. Their work includes a top-to-bottom glance at the information mining strategies and how they can be viably applied in programming designing. Portrayed how bunching procedures could be utilized to find shrouded designs and information to assemble important data. Chong and Chu show how affiliation rule mining could be utilized to identify programming absconds. Shown the significance and utilization of text mining in bug ID. Though Runesan et al. The abilities of NLP in handling copy deformity reports. Proposed strategies to guarantee protection in information mining. This was fundamentally done by filling portions of the dataset with boisterous information. Then again, Mama and Chan in their work recommended iterative digging for mining covering designs in loud information. While Islam and Brankovic were worried about safeguarding protection with the assistance of uproarious information, Mama and Chan managed the end of loud information to accomplish the target of separating important data. Techniques of data mining. Bunching. It was grouping the comparative and unique information of the information base. It is alluded to as an unaided learning measure. It segments a given informational collection into gatherings or bunches with the end goal that the intragroup comparability is amplified and entomb group likeness. Elements to be bunched should be recognized and credited should be chosen before applying the grouping calculation. Bunching calculations, for example, diagram hypothetical calculations, development calculations, enhancement calculations, and various leveled calculations can be utilized for programming designing information. Grouping high-dimensional information is generally troublesome. To manage this situation, profoundly particular calculations like coterie can be utilized. Classification, supervised learning. 3. Software designing information sources accessible for mining. This part portrays the different programming designing information that can be used for information mining and examination. The kind of information created by programming designing decides the decision of information mining procedures that can be applied on it to surmise significant information. Coming up next are the most well-known wellsprings of programming designing information. 4 stages of programming improvement. In this paper, we have assessed the accompanying improvement models. 3 short recorded the stages that are normal in them and exhibited how information mining strategies can be applied to these. Sequential number software improvement model. Waterfall model, iterative mod V-formed model. The product improvement models that have been considered for this paper. Coming up next are the most well-known stages experienced in the advancement strategies referenced above in Table 1. The role of data mining in improving the development process. We have mentioned below the ways in which data mining helps each stage of software development in terms of time, cost, and resources. In the requirements elicitation phase, the requirement document provides a full description of all the software and hardware requirements for the projects. Since this document is highly detailed and descriptive in nature, it increases the time required to summarize the requirements in such a way that they are available at the appropriate time. Time management and resource availability is critical for the functioning of all the subsequent phases. Data mining techniques such as classification could be used on such data, which will classify and prioritize the requirements in such a way that all the resources which are required at each stage shall be present on time. Text mining can be used to summarize the huge amount of given data. This will decrease the amount man-hours put into summarizing and prioritizing the requirements, thereby saving time, cost, and human resources. In the design phase, while designing the layout of the architecture and planning out the database structure, it becomes critical to know which data would be required where and when. Data mining techniques such as clustering can gather similar data from time to time so that extraction of data will become easier. Data gathering becomes a tedious job, especially when it has to be pre-processed over and over again. By using clustering on data elements, the data can be differentiated based on its similarity or dissimilarity. Labeling data from any incoming site would also be much easier using clustering. During implementation, independent parts of codes or modules are implemented first, after which they are integrated with each other. This integration phase can prove to be more challenging than actually coding these modules. The functionalities of each module has to be understood so that they can be integrated efficiently. Data mining techniques such as classification and text mining will allow the developer to understand the possible bugs that might occur during integration. Here the input would be the source code of these independent modules and the output would be whether or not there would be bugs after integration. Frequent pattern mining will also help in correcting those defects that are discovered while performing classification. Clustering can help group together the software processes that are similar. The reliability of a software system is inversely proportional to the number of failures and bugs encountered in the software. Using the data mining techniques mentioned above, these bugs and failures can be detected easily and rectified. This saves valuable time, money, and the additional resources that might have been required for their detection and resolution, along with increasing the reliability and maintainability of the software. While testing the software, unit testing will usually be performed at the implementation level. However, the other testing techniques will most likely be performed by a tester who isn't from the development team. The job of finding bugs in a code is time-consuming and the possible test cases. 6. Existing system. Organization security has become the key establishment with the colossal increment in utilization of organization. Put together administrations and data imparting to respect to organizations. Interruption represents a genuine danger to the organization's security and bargain respectability, classification, and accessibility of the PC and organization assets. Information mining procedure has been broadly applied in the organization interruption recognition framework by extricating helpful information from a huge number of organization information. In this paper, a crossover model is recommended that coordinates oddity-based interruption location strategy with mark-based interruption identification procedure is separated into two phases. In first stage, the mark-based IDS grunt is utilized to create alarms for inconsistency information. In second stage, information mining procedures, the crossover IDS model is assessed utilizing KDD cup dataset. The proposed gathering is acquainted with amplify the adequacy in recognizing assaults and accomplish high exactness rate just as low bogus alert rate. 7. Proposed system. Interruptions are the exercises that abuse the security strategy of framework. Interruption discovery is the cycle used to recognize interruptions. An interruption location framework, IDS, is a gadget or programming application that screens organization or framework exercises for vindictive exercises or strategy infringement and produces reports to an administration station. In our proposed framework, we center around banking situation to identify the interruption or noxious exercises. We need the organization log information that contain the all data like the exchange, the status of interruption. At that point we transfer that information to framework to distinguish the level of interruption and create the report. Many time the internal individual assault on framework through organization, then we can't locate that some assault occur on network. In any case, utilization of its we can distinguish any internal and external assaults from network. The proposed framework is acquainted with expand the adequacy in distinguishing assaults and accomplish high exactness rate. Information mining procedures is assessed utilizing KDD cup dataset. The proposed array is acquainted with boost the adequacy in distinguishing assaults and accomplish high exactness rate just as low bogus caution rate. 8. Conclusion. In this overview, we have set up the need and significance of utilizing information mining procedures to help programming designing, particularly to handle issues, for example, the event of bugs, ascent in the expense of programming support, indistinct necessities, and so on that can influence programming profitability and quality. Our examination has so on that can influence programming profitability and quality. Our examination has illustrated the significant exploration works that have occurred in this field. We have additionally recorded the wellsprings of programming designing information that can be mined, most normal stages in the advancement cycle just as the information mining procedures that can be applied in these stages. Notwithstanding, the significant commitment of our work lies in the determination of the information digging strategy generally appropriate for a specific stage in the improvement cycle. We have watched the upsides of utilizing such incredible information mining methods, particularly regarding time, cost, assets, dependability, and practicality. At long last, we have recorded these perceptions in a plain structure, contrasting the exhibition of programming designing and without the contribution of information mining.